Hello, Grammar 2 people. We are getting ready to start our week 28 and we'll jump right into it. I'm glad you're all back, and we're going to start with the usual way of starting. If you'll pull out your week 28 classwork, we're going to go through that together. Now, as usual, I have put an answer key in your packet there, because I'm not there to check through everything with you as we do it together. So I have that, but that is not for you to look at right away. That is for you to look at after you've completely finished all the sentences, and you can go back and check to make sure they're the same as mine, all right? But we're going to do the first one together, and then we'll go from there, all right? You ready? Have your pencils ready? The polite young man sat nervously. First question, who sat? We have man sat, that's your subject noun, all right? Then we have what did man do? And the answer to that is man sat. Sat is your verb, that's what he does. Sat how? He sat nervously, and that is an adverb, describes sat. What kind of young man, or what kind of man? I just told you. Young. That is an adjective that describes man. And then another, what kind of man? And the answer is polite. That is an adjective. Let's go back, and the only word that we have left is the word the, which is an article adjective, so you can put your A there. Let's go do our sentence pattern. It is pattern 1, subject noun dash verb, and underneath write a P1 for pattern 1. Check. We're checking for prepositional phrases, and there are no prepositional phrases in this sentence, so we don't do parentheses around anything. We check to see what kind of sentence it is. It has a period. It is a statement, so it's a declarative sentence. So go ahead and put a D for declarative. Go straight to the verb, which is sat. Put a slash mark in front of sat, so you have divided the complete subject from the complete predicate. And now all you have to do is tell me what the simple subject is by drawing one line under man. That's the simple subject. The simple predicate is 2 lines under the verb, which is sat, so it's man sat. And that's all we have for that sentence. Alrighty? Now I'm going to go through and just do the question answer flow for you for the other 2 sentences, and you go ahead and mark them, and then after you're done you can check with mine to see if it's like yours. Okay? If it's not, then you need to correct it. All right, here we go. We leave for the wildlife resort tomorrow. Okay, here we go. Who leaves? What do we do? What is for? For what? When? Let's go back and let's see what we've missed. What kind of resort? And then our article adjective. Go ahead and write your sentence pattern in front. Check. Are there prepositional phrases in this sentence? So put a parentheses around any prepositional phrases you see. And what kind of sentence is this? Go straight to the verb, put a slash mark. Now just underline the simple subject, simple predicate. All right? Let's go ahead and do 3. The tree's leaves fell after the heavy frost. What fell? did leaves do? What is after? After what? What kind of frost? Whose leaves? Then you're going to mark the article adjectives. Let's go ahead and do your sentence pattern in the front. And we say check, which means we check for prepositional phrases. So put parentheses around any prepositional phrases you see there. Then, what kind of sentence is this? Go straight to the verb, put your slash mark. That divides the complete subject from the complete predicate. Then you're underlining the simple subject once, simple predicate twice. All right, I'm not going to go through that with you with the answers. You need to check your answers with the answer key that's already in there. All right? Make sure if you don't know why something is marked a certain way, make sure that you ask. Okay, ask your mom or ask somebody who would know, because you need to understand that. And I think, there's nothing new here, so you should do just fine with this. All right, today we're going to talk about something called a simile and a metaphor. Now, we've talked about those before, so this is not a new idea for you, but so it shouldn't be too hard for you. But they're both kind of the same thing. A simile and a metaphor both compare two things that aren't anything alike. All right? So if I'm comparing my feet to a block of ice, what does that tell you about my feet? It tells you that my feet are cold. Are they really blocks of ice? No, but they're cold, okay? But the difference between a simile and a metaphor is that when you're using a simile, you use the word as or like. My feet are as cold as a block of ice. Or my feet are like a block of ice. All right, so you're using the word as and like. Now, metaphor, you can be comparing the same exact two things, but you do not use the word as or like. So you just say that one thing is another thing. My feet are blocks of ice. Okay? You are my sunshine. All right? So you're saying one is the other. That's the only difference between the two. You are going to be making two composition pages, one for similes, one for metaphors. So go ahead and get out your pages that look like composition pages. They look like this, and then you have a title to it, I believe, in there. If you don't worry about it, because I don't see it in mine. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to make a page that looks, or two pages that look like this. We're going to start with our similes, all right? And this is what I mean by the title. If you have this, go ahead and you can glue that to the top. All right, we're going to write on your page before you glue these on to make sure that you have enough room. All right, so get your pencil ready. You do have I believe, a copy of this in your packet. It looks just like this. It has the writing on it and everything. So what I would like you to do, up here it tells us what is a simile and what is a metaphor. All it says, and I will explain it to you in a minute, it says figurative language is descriptive language. that creates an image in a reader's mind. Now that's really fancy. That's really a fancy way to write things. But when you are thinking about something that's figurative, when you have figurative speech, all that means is it makes you think of a picture of some kind, or it makes you think of something that you normally maybe wouldn't think of. All right? So that's really all that means. It's just a figurative way of talking. In fact, if you want to, or you can say a figurative way, and the figurative word figurative is right here where you can see it. You can say a figurative is a way to describe things. Okay? Figurative words are a way to describe things. Similes and metaphors are both figurative speech. All right, so after you have that all written, you can go ahead and glue this page in. It's their simile page. You're not going to be writing on this page at all. Let's look at some of the examples on this page. See this? See that piece of pie there? It says as easy as pie. And you're talking about how if something that you're doing might be just as easy as pie. I mean, making this page is as easy as pie. Is this really pie? No, it's just a figurative way of talking. It's called a figure of speech. It is, what all that's saying is it's just easy. It's very, very easy. All right? So you're comparing two things, but I mean, that's not really what that is it? How about this one? Cute as a button. Cute as a button. Do you consider buttons cute? Some of them might be. I don't know. If they're little bunnies or something like that, they might be cute. But when you're comparing a little baby or a little bunny or a little puppy to a button, that sounds kind of weird, isn't it? But, you know, it's just a saying. As cute as a button means that this little puppy is the cutest thing. All right? 2 peas in a pod. I have 2 little granddaughters that are twins, identical twins. They have a brother, so they're really triplets. But the 2 girls are identical twins. They are alike as 2 peas in a pod. Are they peas? Are they in a pod? No. And they really aren't that alike. They're real different. But they look alike. Okay? So you're talking about 2 peas in a pod, and you're comparing something that aren't really peas, and they're not really in a pod, but you're saying that they really, really look a lot alike. Because peas and pods usually do look a lot alike, don't they? I don't know if you've ever seen them that way, but anyway, so we are just going to go through, okay, as slow as a snail. Well, you know what that means. That means someone is just taking their time to get anything done. Taking their time. That doesn't mean they're really snails. It just means that they're slow. All right, let's go down here, and you're just going to do you're going to write a description of a simile. And be sure, you see right here where I've underlined the word simile, go ahead and do that to make sure that that word kind of stands out on that page. A simile makes a comparison between 2 things using the words like and as. All right? So that is what a simile is. Now we're going to go over to our metaphor. So see if I can get that so you can see it. All right, here's your metaphor. A metaphor, you're going to do the same exact thing. All right, I have my writing down here. So I've put my picture up there. You can do it any way you want, as long as you leave room for things, all right? So a metaphor is comparing 2 things, the same thing. It just does not use the word like or as. And so you can say to somebody, that little boy is a sly fox. Is that little boy really a sly fox? No, he's not a fox at all, isn't he? It's just saying he's sly. You're saying, but you don't say he is as sly as a fox, because that would be simile. You just say he is a sly fox. Oh, okay. Or you can say it's the icing on the cake. All that means is it's just the added extra neat thing. It's not really icing, it's not really cake. But it's saying one is the other, but they aren't really that. It's just comparing the two. He's a pig. Have you ever said that about anybody who can't seem to stop eating? Eat, 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 eat. Oh, he is a pig. Is he really a pig? No, of course not. He's not a pig. He's a person, or she. I guess she's can be pigs too. Okay, so you're comparing the two, but you're not using is or like, as or like. So here, you're just going to do the same thing. You're going to say a metaphor, and you have it in your packet, so you can just copy it. Okay, you don't need to try and copy it off this. A metaphor is a comparison without using the words like or as. A metaphor says that one thing is another. Okay? So we are done with similes and metaphors. So you just have to work on your book, and finish it up, okay? Remember how you cut down the pages and everything? And so that you'll be able to put everything in your composition book when you see it. All right? So that is all we have for that, I believe. Let me check to make sure. Yes, it is. All right, so all we're going to do now is your spelling. So change over to your spelling, and all your words this time is what it looks like. Spelling, reading, spelling 27 week. They don't exactly match up to the weeks, but that's okay. Okay, so here we go. Today, all of your words have a suffix on them. Now, do you remember what a suffix is? It's a little word part that goes at the end of a word. It usually changes the meaning of the word. So you're having a regular word, like it's called a root word, and then you put an ending to it, and it makes it a little bit different. So, so that's what, and the word and the endings that you're going to put on words this week are F-U-L, full, L-Y, ly, L-E-S-S, less, E-R-E, as and E-S-T, est. Now let's read the words together, and then I'll say just a couple more things about it, and then we'll be done, okay? So you can read them with me, or you can read them right after me. Say the letters the words right after me. Okay, here goes. Useful, quietly, slowly, careful, careless, useless. Oops, quickly, I missed one. Quickly, useless, worthless, fearful, fearless, joyful, smarter, fastest, funniest, happiest, mannerly, clueless. What I'd like you to do is take your highlighter, and let's go ahead and highlight the suffixes that are in these words. So you got your highlighter ready? Let's go ahead and do that. So useful, it would be F-U-L. That's the suffix. Quietly, it's L-Y. Slowly, L-Y. Careful, F-U-L. Careless, L-E-S-S. Quickly, L-Y. Useless, L-E-S-S. Worthless, L-E-S-S. Fearful, F-U-L. Fearless, L-E-S-S. Joyful, F-U-L. Smarter, E-R. fastest, EST, funniest, EST, and happiest, EST. Then we have our bonus words, mannerly, and you can do LY, clueless, LESS. Now, when you add a suffix, like I said, it changes the meaning of a word a lot of times. So, if you have, for instance, the suffix LESS means without. All right. So, if you have the word like in your list word 7, use, useless. If you take the less off, it's just use. Okay. But if you put useless on there, if you put LESS on there, it means without use. So it's exactly the opposite. It changes the whole meaning of it. All right. And number 9, fearful. Full means full of. So fearful means full of fear. Joyful means full of joy. All right. And let's go ahead and look down the words that I want you to look at carefully are number 14 and number 15. Funniest and happiest. Now, if you take the root word, if you take the suffix EST off of funniest, what word do you come up with? The word you come up with is funny. But it's not spelled that way, is it? It's spelled Funny, not Funni, is it? And this is the rule. When you have a word like funny that ends with a consonant and a Y, so N is a consonant, Y is a vowel, sometimes. In this case, it is. If you have a word that ends in a consonant and a Y, and you have to add an EST to it, or even another one, it's EST in this case, then you change the Y to I. And that's the same with happiest. HAPPY, P is a consonant, and then Y, so you change that Y to I, and you add EST. So you need to remember to do that for those two. All the other ones, it looks like you stay the same. All you have to do is add the suffix to it, okay? So that is all we have today. So you can get working on your packet, and you don't have a whole lot. And actually, while I'm thinking about it, let's go ahead and quickly look through your packet just to make sure there's nothing on it that trips you up. I think it's mostly what we've talked about in the past pretty easily. Yes, one of them, you have to tell me whether it's a simile or a metaphor. And again, you know it's a simile if it has as or like in it. Otherwise, it's a metaphor. Then you have the 5 parts of the front of a book, and look at your reference for that. Some of you got that wrong last week, even though we had just talked about it. Look at your reference 49 in your book. All right, it's 48 and 49, I believe. They're the last 2 references that are in your book. So go ahead and look at those to do this so that you'll remember to get them right. All right, then you're going to just use then on page 3 of your packet, all you're going to do is write those sentences correctly. They need periods and question marks and capitals and all kinds of things. So you're just going to, sometimes there's commas that need to be done. So go ahead. So that's all you're going to do. And rather than just mark the periods and whatever, I would like you to please write the whole sentence. This is the page I'm talking about. Okay? So don't just correct it and put it on top. Write the whole sentence correctly on your line. All right? Okay. That's it. Just in time. The airplane's coming. See you next week. Bye-bye.